Tier lists seem to be still a thing, so I'm just gonna go over briefly all the worlds in Wizard 101, because there's like 16 or so worlds? I'm not really sure. Let's just get straight into it. Wizard City, the first place where people experience what the game has to offer. You dip your little toes into these free-to-play waters, and then the paywall rips apart those new players, showing absolutely no mercy. To be honest, I can't really think of anything good that have come from Wizard City. Except you as the player, of course. The chosen one. The prophet. The commons are just filled with role-playing beggars who disguise themselves as female wizards to lower the guards of their unsuspecting prey. The pet pavilion is just a huge currency sink to get the right pet. You can't even get a house until you're level 15 unless you buy a bundle. But because it's the first area of the game and nostalgia, I'll cut it some slack. C tier. Crocotopia, I like the whole desert theme. It makes the homeless nomads stare poorer than they actually are. What's surprising to me though is that there aren't any houses or tents there, only shops. It kinda reminds me of a shopping center or mall in the middle of nowhere. They even got a secret shop. Here's the thing though. The fact that you defeat the final boss of the world and get told the item you're supposed to find is elsewhere is basically pulling the princesses in another castle card. I don't like doing safari hunts for the Coca-Colan or can, whatever it's called. For that reason, C tier. Marleybone. I did not like this world much at all. A lot of it boiled down to me having to solve everything and do a detective's job for them. The only thing I liked about this world is it being nighttime always, and the world reminded me of 101 Dalmatians, or in this case, probably 101 cats and dogs. C tier. Mushu has a nice Asian aesthetic, not really focused on one culture but many. The main question at hand though is, we never found out how they were producing the dairy there. Do they milk themselves or do they milk each other? I mean, it has to be a production line of some kind. You can't just slap the label of Mushu milk without it being from Mushu. I like the story of Mushu where he had to awaken the sleeping beauty by defeating the fairy god Onis, but there's one thing I didn't like about Mushu. It's the fact that mostly everywhere you went, all you saw was bamboo. Other than that, the story was good, so B tier. Dragon Sparrow was alright. My favorite area in that world was the prison or the labyrinth where you got to feel what it was like to bust cheeks and split wigs. Everything else from the worlds before it culminates into this awkward love story that has just been brought to your attention. Yes, the sole reason why this pin-headed mustached tortellini destroyed a world and sunk his own school was because of his dead wife. Has good music though. B tier. Celestia. I've always disliked this world. The reason why was because at the time of playing, I was so close to achieving max level, at the time being level 50, and that a few days later, Celestia, the new world, was released, and the level cap was raised to 60. Imagine being so close, yet so far, and in the end, it didn't even matter. Anyway, season 2 of this anime, we were introduced to Morgan, an old lady past her prime who has a weird fixation for spiders. Anything that you believed in was wrong. It was her way or death. I honestly forgot why I even went there in the first place. The areas, though, were very rich and diverse. I mean, come on, underwater area where you get to literally swim alongside and with the fishes? Also an island with duck-filled rat people and sharks with spears? What's not to love? A tier. Zafaria. F tier. But because a dear friend of mine likes the sunsets there, C tier. Now Avalon, that was where things got really good. You had the Spider-Woman's background finally revealed. Apparently, she was supposed to be the lead role in a middle school play, but the headmaster gave the role to somebody else instead. This is why she lashed out and wanted to rule the world. She never outgrew her angsty teen phase. Also, mini-sized and tiny-sized dragons. S tier. Azteca, long and grueling world where the asteroids are frozen in time on a never-ending path towards the beaked dinosaurs. More of a chore than anything. Not a bad ending to the world though. C tier. Chrysalis. This was a world that was very long. The fact that the developers split the world in half to 2 parts really showed how drawn out it was. The introduction of shadow magic is fine, and having the whole concept of light and shadow in like a Yu-Gi-Oh duel is okay, I guess. About near the end of the world, you summon this big Bubba looking guy named Old Cobb. At the end, when you stick it to the Spider-Woman and make her pay for being an outcast, it's later revealed that Bubba is now the main villain. Story was good, but it didn't need to be 2 parts. My college English professor always said to keep it short, sweet, and neat. B tier. The only memorable thing from this world I can think of is the giant Play-Doh Galactus pieced together with glue. The one that swings its arms every few rounds and shoots laser beams. B tier. Mirage is like a better Crocotopia, except with genies and Mr. Clean. Story-wise, it was okay. At the end of the world where the kid shoots the Hadouken was a nice touch. B tier. Imperia was like Chrysalis's spiritual successor with 2-part worlds. I didn't like part 1, but part 2 was kinda the same. It felt the same as the other worlds before it, long drawn out. Part 2 was very scenic and picturesque in stark contrast to part 1's fish, eel, squid thing. B tier. Finally, Caramel. I didn't like it overall very much. It felt very plasticky, if that's even a real word. It didn't feel like it fit in with Wizard101's worlds. I literally forgot the entire reason why the headmaster sends us there in the first place. The only thing I liked were the gobblers, since their sweat was used in crack or cocaine or whatever drug they were making. Other than that, the ending just left me unsatisfied. It wasn't impactful. There wasn't a huge fanfare conclusion. It was just like, yeah, corporate greed is bad. But hey, everybody had fun. Let's just part ways now. C tier. Now, I made everything as fair as possible. No world on this list was truly bad, or deserved to be put below C tier. There are things out there that people make with a ton of effort. Production value, voice acting, animation, and casts. Basically anything you can think of that involves lots of money, they've done it. All of that is great and all, but if the execution is off, none of the effort put in shines through to outweigh the negatives. There's a difference between spending time and spending time wisely. The same goes for money. Now wait, we're not done yet. Like those old infomercials, I'll give you 2 free worlds, Wisteria and Grizzleheim, for free. You get it all, 15 worlds in addition to 2 free ones, all for the low price of 10 minutes or less. I liked Grizzleheim, and the birds and the bear gangs having a turf war. Winter Tusk is basically a continuation of this plotline, except with the summoning of an old frosty Santa Claus. I technically don't have any problems with this world, except for Winter Tusk's difficulty spike where the enemies had a lot more health in addition to critical chance. A tier. Wisteria is virtually a copy of Wizard City's Ravenwood. It's like copying their homework but doing it poorly, giving weird names such as Chaos, Earth, and Edgy or something like that. Beyond that though, I like the world for its simplicity. It was short and usually straight to the point as far as the world went. B tier. Alright, that will do it for this video. If you have something different or similar ranking of these worlds, comment it down below. Also, if you want to see me play other games, visit my channel called Froggies 2. But with that, take care and see you guys.